Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of our Lion Fight Zoom chats. Justin on at the controls. And we are joined, very happy to be joined by Travis Petralba, who is making his long-awaited return to Line Fight. It's been about 20 shows, I think, since Travis has been inside our ring, way back in LA at the LA Coliseum. But we're happy to have him back, and he'll be back in action on October the 8th, live on UFC Fight Pass, of course, from Los Angeles. So we'll be happy to have him back in the ring where he's been very comfortable. Travis, really happy to have you back. How excited are you for your upcoming fight on October the 8th?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I'm pretty excited. It's been a while, um, and I'm just excited to get back into it.
So before we get into sort of all the things that have gone on with you in the last year, what I think one unique thing about you is that you're a native of Hawaii who now lives in LA, and I think it's really cool because you're an LA-based fighter, but you have a really big crowd that comes out of Hawaiians that come to see you. I think it's going to be really cool to see that.
Oh yeah, I think Hawaiian culture is like that. They like to support everybody coming out of Hawaii. Being a fighter, yeah, it's a blessing.
So like I said, it's been about 20 shows since you fought inside Lion Fight. For those people that haven't seen you before, tell us about your what you've kind of been honing in your craft to get back to this state now after so many missing shows, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I did fight for Lion Fights in 2018. Um, After that, I spent most of my time looking for fights in Thailand. I like to be a more technical fighter, and I feel like fighting in Thailand is a good pace for me, and it's a good bar that I try to achieve. Um, so that's yeah. I think I had one fight in Thailand after I fought with you guys.
And you did well there, correct? I mean, not only just in that fight, but you did really well in training. Everybody was telling me that, I think they've seen some vast improvements in your game.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely Thailand, and my camp in Hawaii and my camp now here in LA. I've just been training as hard as I can.
So unlike most people, in the last 18 months to almost 2 years now, a lot of us have been either cooped up at home or we were off work for a while and back to work. You graduated nursing school in the midst of all your training, Muay Thai training, of course. You were going to school. You graduated and then went to work as a nurse during all of this pandemonium during the pandemic. Can you kind of in a nutshell give us a perspective on what it was like to be really a frontline worker during all this?
Yeah, so after I graduated, I got a job right away working in the emergency room. And right as I was kind of getting the hang of being an emergency room nurse, that's when COVID hit us. And it was kind of, it blindsided everybody. But being a new nurse, I had to relearn a lot of things. And yeah, a lot of people were cooped up, but I was actually going in and I actually put in more hours trying to learn about this new disease and how to prevent me from getting it, other people from spreading it, and all of that.
What was it like to see so many people coming through your ER and through your hospital, and just the suffering and the not knowing very much about what was going on with this pandemic, and just all the how it got politicized and everything? It must have been just unbelievably grueling for you and your coworkers.
It was scary. It was frustrating. Um, a lot of nurses got sick. Luckily, I was one of the ones that stayed as protected as possible. But a lot of people would come in, and some people didn't know they were sick, and they would just pass it on to everybody, including the nurses, doctors, and so we were more on kind of a little bit of a higher alert, just because we needed to still come back to work and care for these people too. So we had to really be careful to not get sick as well.
Were you able to leave work and do any training, or were you just work had to get? get pushed to the side during all that?
So at first, I did cut back on my training a lot. I mean, I think I was putting more people at risk by being a nurse, and I didn't know if I caught it, and then if I brought it to the gym, it would have been devastating. So I had to isolate myself a little bit until we got a better understanding of what was going on and how to prevent to spread to other people. Um, and that was, I mean, that was a struggle for me too.
Imagine that. I was going to say we're almost at the end of this, but I mean, there's always these peaks and variants and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know if I could really say we're at the end of it. We hope we're certainly hope we are, but it must give you a new appreciation for not only what you do for a living, but everybody that is in that medical field and first responders and all that kind of stuff, because you've really seen so much during all this.
Oh yeah, we've seen a lot, and with all these new variants and stuff, it's pretty frustrating. Um, I used to understand when people didn't want to get vaccinated and stuff, but I think there's a lot more evidence about the vaccine being beneficial, and I'm seeing that personally. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people aren't.
I imagine it sometimes it got pretty frustrating to hear uh, people's just crazy, some, I guess what some people will call crazy talk, or just spreading rumors, or just all kinds of things about this. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a CNN or just aggravating at times too.
Yeah, it can be a little frustrating. It still is a little bit. I know people are scared, and everybody takes in information from wherever sources. I've always told people, if you have questions, ask me. I try to be as unbiased as possible. As a nurse, ask the nurses, ask the
Yeah.
people that are in the front, and they will tell you exactly how it is.
So let me ask you then, just let's just get that stuff out of the way now. It's been such a downer, and I would guess having this target now of October 8th and fighting on UFC Fight Pass, it must have brought some glimmer through all of this for you to have this target now and a goal in front of you.
Yeah, yeah. It is a little. We are looking hopeful. I am trying to get back into training as much as I used to, and trying to get back into fights. It was I think that was probably the hardest. Is I had so many fights 2018, and then I wasn't able to fight after that,
Yeah.
and then especially with COVID, it was yeah.
How do you juggle this, or how do you perceive that you will juggle sort of being a professional fighter and being a medical professional at the same time? Do you see yourself being able to do both at the same time? Do you see yourself maybe having to maybe one of them is going to have to take a back seat to the other at some point in the next year or so?
Um, as far as that goes, being a nurse, I have to be 100% on my game when I'm there. But I think
Yeah,
what's beneficial about my work schedule here in LA is that it's very flexible. As an emergency room nurse, there's always a need, so I'm
sure.
able to set my time aside to work, and then set my time aside for training in the gym. And that's kind of how I've been training now. And then as the date gets closer, um, I took a little bit of vacation time, and I'm honing in on just training right
Anything from your nursing training that you can take into fighting, and anything from fighting that you can take into nursing? Is there any equivalent skills, maybe not skill sets, but mindsets or attitudes or anything like that?
now. Absolutely. Um, especially being in the emergency room, we're under a lot of stress, and sometimes they're real critical situations. And I feel like that follows me into the ring. If I'm under stress and I'm being stressed, I am able to think clearly and work around, get through that. Okay.
High pressure situations aren't a big deal, or you know how to work through them.
Exactly. Exactly. I
Okay.
feel like nursing has helped me with that. And I feel like fighting also helps me in the nursing side as well.
So how do you kind of perceive this fight coming up? Is it a step in the right direction for you in terms of maybe moving up the ladder a little bit within the lion fight ranks? Is it a win? Would that put you on a path to title fight? Is that sort of what you're aiming for?
That would be nice. Yeah, absolutely. I think all of my fights, I am a little nervous, and I always try to do the best that I can. And of course, every fight any fighter takes, it's always to get the next step up. But I think with these past, with this whole COVID year, I think it's been a while for everybody. So
Does it add a little bit more excitement to it? That obviously it's your first time on UFC Fight Pass. You've been out of Lion Fight for a number of years now, but it's gotta be I think a little bit more meaningful for you this time around.
absolutely, yeah. Definitely feels good to be able to step back into the ring. But Lion Fights is probably the biggest Muay Thai promotion in the United States right now, and being on UFC, I've never fought on UFC Fight Pass, so this is all going in the great direction for me.
Awesome, good stuff. Well, we are definitely looking forward to having you back. Obviously, Lion Fight 70 coming up on October the 8th from Commerce Casino in Los Angeles, Travis Petralba's adopted hometown, I guess we'll say, and it'll be live on UFC Fight Pass. Travis, thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate your time, and we will see everybody soon and talk to you again soon.